the benefits that can be achieved through the Neighbourhood Development Partnership grant within Thembeletu. We continue to engage with provincial government about the needs within the education and health sectors, as well as tackling blockages in the logistics and transport sectors. During the course of the council meeting, I will expand further on other aspects during the tabling of the draft annual report and the report on the annual financial statements, as well as the 6 months results for the period ended 31 December 2023. I wish to extend my thanks to our management team and staff for their dedication and commitment during the holiday season as they continue with their exemplary service. Thank you very much. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to go straight over to the various other speakers. The first to speak is the ANC. You have 3 minutes. ANC, you have 3 minutes. Your time is started, please.
Speaker, Councillor Mtaka will use mine. He is here, but his laptop cannot speak.
Continue, please, then.
Good morning, Speaker, and everyone. I will get in. Thank you for the address, though it was a short one, which the mayor has put up. But I will just also just to zoom in some of the things that he did mention, and some that he didn't also mention. In one of the things that he mentioned is also regarding the chances of the employment, of which when we look at that, the employment is not increasing or doesn't become better, because even when you check in also in the projects and the programs, when you also go, still the EPWPs are still not transparent. You also go to the case of education, whereby he emphasized on education, but you are still have challenges and the shortages of schools, which are they are not even addressed as if we want to better our education. How do we address the schools which are shortage? And also one of the concerns when he speaks about the health, we hear that there's a closure of some health facilities, which now is a great also concern, because we've got already the challenges with the existing health facilities which we have, which also the municipality doesn't also get to assist, because when you go to these health facilities, more challenges are happening, and their operation doesn't address the best interest of the people. We also would like to also check as to the grading of the Georgia municipality, since it is now also identified as one of the biggest. And this information also is known to only the councillors of the DA.
Thank you, Councillor.
Those are also.
Thank you, Councillor. Your 3 minutes is unfortunately up. Thank you for your input. The next party to speak on this item is the Good Party. You have 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
Dankie Speaker. Goeiemôre almal. Ja, Mr. Meyer, ons baie dankie vir die speech. Ons het geluister na baie goede wat u gesê het. Ja, ons wil graag ook noem, ek het gehoor dat u praat van 'n spatial balance, spatial justice balance, and the good manifesto is clear, Speaker. We are committed to fight for spatial justice for our communities. Ja, Mr. Meyer, ek het ook geluister, u praat van security, en ek wil graag noem dat ons in ons skole het regtig sekuriteit nodig, en ek weet nie of die munisipaliteit daar kan inkom om vir ons skole te kan assist. Mr. Meyer praat van beskoon tog Speaker. Ja, praat van opportunities for all citizens. Dit is nie evident in ons gemeenskappe nie. Werksgeleenthede is nie equal vir ons gemeenskappe agtergeblewe, spesifiek agtergeblewe gemeenskappe nie, Mr. Meyer. Ja, u het aangeraak van Go George dienste in Thembalethu. Maar Go George dienste is baie swak in ons gemeenskappe, spesifiek Pakkelsdorp, Newton Park, waar mense moet ure wag vir busse, waar mense moet in die reën staan en wag vir busse wat nooit op tyd is nie. Daar was aan die begin van die uitrol van busse van die Go George was daar gepraat dat daar die klein bussies sal inry om ons gemeenskappe daar uit te ry na die hoofroetes toe, maar dit gebeur nie. So ons mense moet in die reën en in wind staan en hulle moet ure en ure wag en oor en oorklim. Selfs hier by die hap in die dorp moet ons gemeenskap van Newton Park in die reën staan. Ja, Mr. Meyer, so die Go George op hierdie huidige oomblik in ons gebiede is vir ons 'n klug. Want ons het geen ander alternatief ons gemeenskappe nie. Baie dankie, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, and good morning to all the councillors. Yes, Mr. Speaker, good morning. Mr. Mayor, we heard your speech and we are very much grateful of your speech. You referred to a lot of things and you spoke about spatial justice balance, of which we as the Good Party, we believe in that. You also heard you made mention of security in our schools. Yes, indeed, security is needed in our schools. We do not know how and when the municipality will intervene in that regard. You also made mention about the work and the job opportunities in our communities, of which it is not evident to us or in our communities as to how those work opportunities or those job opportunities will apply to our communities, because our people are still struggling and are still unemployed. And you also made mention of the Go George services that have started in Thembalethu areas. But what I want to say is the services are actually weak in our areas. We made mention of Pakkelsdorp and Newton areas. There's no bigger shelter for our people to stand and wait for the buses. And when it's raining, people have to walk in order for them to reach the bus stops. And it was said in the beginning that shuttle buses or small buses will actually go into the location and pick up people and go and drop them off at the big bus stops. But this is actually not helping. So to us, Go George is actually not doing the services that were actually needed or the services that were promised in our communities. So it is not of help to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next party to speak on this item is the PBI. You have 3 minutes. It starts now.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for your sugar-coated speech that you delivered here today. You speak about George dropping from 47th to 70th place on a survey. And our appeal to you is that you must focus on local issues and not national issues. You are the mayor of George. You are not the mayor of South Africa. But yet you look at issues that affect the whole of South Africa and you should be looking at issues that affect George. What have you done to alleviate the situation of everyone here in George? We look at the unequal services that is being rendered here in George, and it is a shame that our people has to go through this. Mr. Mayor, jy kla oor load shedding, en hierdie ding is nou al holregery, want dit word gebruik in elke raadsvergadering waar moontlik. Toch het George munisipaliteit fondse oorgerol wat bewillig was om load shedding te verlig. As jy die fondse reg gebruik het, hoef jy nie te kla met die wit brood onder jou arm nie. Then you talk about the influx of immigrants. Growth in economic activities is contrary to your opening statement. If you proclaim George to be the best run city, then you will have a lot of immigrants coming to George. So please don't complain if you promote your city as the best run city, yet you complain about the number of immigrants that comes to George here. Spending on the upper limits that you say is at the end of the norm, yet our people are being punished and have to sit in long queues due to credit control actions. Only certain race groups targeted, because this is evident when you look at the queues. Are the stats of the retail shops that you mentioned seen as a bar to punish our consumers? We need to alleviate the debt that is being placed on our consumers, and this is where local economic opportunities must be used, and you must tap into the necessary resources to ensure that there is economic growth in George. Everybody talks about Go George, Mr. Mayor. This is a project that will be coming to an end soon. What will then happen to the Go George buses? Will we have the same situation that we have in Port Elizabeth, where the grass is overgrowing the buses and nothing is happening with the transport system there? Please, Mr. Mayor, get your house in order before you complain about everything else and start to focus on local issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is the EFF. You have 3 minutes, please.
Enkosi Somlomo, ndibulise Bhungeni. Thina Mr. Mayor singumbutho we-EFF asihambiselani nengxelo ke oyibekileyo apha phambi kwethu. Wathetha nge-population growth, of which ke kukwanda ke kwenani labantu ke abandwendwela esi sixeko salapha eGeorge. Loo nto le ichaza ukuthi ke the moment kusanda ke inani labantu abandwendwela esi sixeko saseGeorge, neemfuno ke zabantu kwi-services, especially ke ezibalulekileyo ezifana ke kwicandelo ke lezempilo, ukuya ke kumacandelo ke ezemisebenzi kunye nesikolo, aye ke abe kwi-demand ngakumbi. Loo nto leyo ke ithi i-ignorance ka-George municipality ingapha kokuqola, ngoba ke i-population ke kwi-area ke esihlala kuzo ndizawukhankanya ke ithemba lethu. Ithemba lethu ke inani layo liphezulu kakhulu, but ke uyawuyibona ukuthi ke ikliniki eseva abantu ngakumbi yile bekufanele kokuba sisibhedlele ke semini. So umasipala walapha eGeorge akakhathalelanga nto ke ukugxininisa ekuadreseni ezo issues zinjalo ke kwi-province, nanjengokuba ke siyazi ukuthi ichina ke lenu niyanxibelana njengomasipala ke we-DA kunye ne-province, ukwenza sure ukuthi abantu bakuthi ke bakhathalelekile ingakumbi kwicala lezempilo nele misebenzi ekuveliseni imisebenzi. Ukuya ke kwi-special landuza, special justice imbalance, asizungena kakhulu ke Mr. Mayor, ngoba ke leni ithethayo kokuba ni-acknowledge ukuthi ke ikhona imfuno ngamampunge, ngoba ke ninika ogxa benu ke nasekuvele izithuba ke zemihlaba ekufumaniseka uba ziyathengiswa. Abantu bokuqala ukubajonga kuloo mihlaba ngabantu enibaziyo okanye ke eninento yokwenza kunye nabo. So siyayilwa kakhulu ke thina siyilo mbutho we-EFF, sithi vezani imihlaba kubantu abahlelelekileyo, nothi kosuswana sibomvana ke nongcowa ke ezinzulu. Ukuya kumba ka-Go George, Mr. Mayor, sibuhlungu kakhulu ke thina singilo mbutho we-EFF, ngoba ke izinto esasizibeke etafuleni kwiingxoxo zethu nokuzama ukudibanisa ke i-stakeholders zaphelela emoyeni. Iloo nto leyo ibonakalisa ke ungabikho kwe-transparency kulo masipala walapha eGeorge. Ukuprova loo nto leyo nangoku ezi zihambayo kule route inye zisoloko zigadwe ligquba lamapolisa singayazi okokuba awuziseva nini na community. Loo nto leyo ibonakalisa ke unganyaniseki kulo masipala we-DA nokufuna ke ukurhwaphiliza imali efakwe nguNational apha kule ngxowa ke kamasipala waseGeorge. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Your time is up. The next to speak on the item would be the PA, but sorry, I need a translation.
Mr. Yuka will be doing the translations.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your speech, which we, as the EFF, do not agree with, especially with regards to the population growth issues. When a population grows, it comes with challenges like, for instance, in the health sector, as well as in the transport sector. There are demands that needs to be met in these regards, of which we feel that the demands were not met in the transport and health sectors. When we look at the Thembaletu health sector, the center there, or the facility there, has challenges. As we know, the population is very big in Thembaletu. It's a huge population, yet the center is not equipped enough to can cater for the needs of the population there. So we feel, as the EFF, this speech is misleading the population of George. And you mentioned also the issue of the number, the numbers that you mentioned, that South Africa was number 47th, now it's number 70th. I won't even delve into that, as those are not community-based issues. If you look at the special justice balance that you mentioned, if you look at the land aspect of it, you are also misleading the people there, because when it comes to the specific issue of land, you only cater for people that you know and people that are close to you. You don't look at the broader community to ensure that everyone is looked after where land is concerned. And when one looks at the Go George issue, in Thembaletu specifically, there were issues that were raised here in council around these issues, this issue of Go George, of which those issues are not even looked at. The service delivery regarding this transport sector does not cater for the issues that we raised as the EFF. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as I was saying, the next party to speak on the item would be the PA, but unfortunately we've received a request for absenteeism. I'm therefore going to hand over to the our last speaker, which is the coalition, for 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, firstly, it's a bit shocking to hear that some of my councillors do not really know what the municipal mandate is that we are afforded according to the Constitution. If we look at some of the issues raised, schools and school security is not a municipal mandate. We cannot get involved there and assist. Secondly, health is also not a municipal mandate, and we also cannot get involved there. When it comes to the so-called rolling over of funds, no rollover of funds for load shedding took place. A generator that was funded from the provincial government was received late. The funding was received late, and one generator has to be manufactured due to its size and will be installed as soon as it is received. All Go George routes work according to a plan and a set diary and time allocation. So people need to plan better. If the 7 o'clock bus is full, they need to take the 7:30 or the 6:30 bus. Some of those buses are actually virtually empty because people do not plan. As I said previously, we need to distinguish between municipal mandates and provincial mandates. Credit control, for example, is something that is implemented without fear or favor, irrespective of what areas you live in or what race group you belong to. If you owe money, credit control policies are implemented, irrespective of who or what you are. As I said, there is nothing that the municipality can do about schools except to engage with our ministers and to explain the dire need we have for additional schooling, which we have been doing through our mayor and our MM over the last 18 months, because we do realize that we are actually a victim of our own success because of the people who are moving into George. When we look at the season, we need to remember that on average, for every one tourist who enters the country or an area, between 5 and 7 jobs are created. And if we take note that we had between 12 and 13 airplanes landing on a daily basis carrying 180 passengers, it just shows you how many jobs were created. Yes, they may not have been permanent jobs, but every job, even if it's a temporary job that is created in George, means that there is bread on the table of some of our residents. The allocation of land is not something that any political party does. Any developer stands free to approach the municipality for land should they wish to develop, and there are processes, legal processes that need to be gone through. So to say that people are favored when it comes to allocating land is really, really not fair. Our colleagues also touched on the fact that they felt that the mayor was the mayor of George and not of South Africa, but George plays an integral part in the economy of South Africa and the Southern Cape, and therefore we need to take grave note of the economic developments.
Thank you, Councillor. Your time is up. That concludes the mayoral address. I'm now going to ask that we move on to the roll call. Could I ask corporate services to please begin the roll call?
Good morning, Speaker. Morning, councillors. Morning, everybody. Councillor Adams.
Morning, everyone. I'm present. Amase, Isis.
Councillor Alexander.
Councillor Alexander has apologized for the meeting. He's ill.
Councillor America.
Good morning, present.
Councillor Barnard.
Good morning, present.
Councillor Brown.
Good morning, Rosemary, present.
Councillor Busak.
Good morning, Rosemary. I'm present.
Councillor Keraulis.
Present.
Councillor Clark.
Present. Good morning.
Councillor Kudis.
Morning, present.
Councillor Cronje.
Cronje present.
Councillor Dutoit.
Goeiemôre Rosemary, ek is teenwoordig.
Councillor Esau.
Councillor Esau is on sick leave. He has apologized.
Thank you. Councillor Vigland. ED. Councillor RG Vigland.
RG Vigland present. Good morning, everybody.
Councillor Fry. Councillor Kom.
Councillor Kom present.
Councillor Greef.
Goeiemôre, Rosemary teenwoordig.
Councillor Goultik.
Councillor Goultik present. Thank you.
Councillor Hani.
Good morning, Rosemary. I'm present.
Councillor Jantjies. Councillor Jay.
Goeiemôre teenwoordig.
Councillor Johnson.
Good morning, I'm present.
Councillor Kleinhans. Alderman Kritzinger.
Chat box, Chair.
Councillor Kruger.
Good morning, I am present.
Councillor Linto.
Good morning. The Council of ANC is present. Thank you.
Councillor Lose.
Molweni, baba we-DA ukhona ulosa.
Councillor Lau.
Goeiemôre, teenwoordig.
Councillor Mankele.
Good morning, Councillor Manele, present. Happy New Year for everyone.
Councillor Mbete.
Morning, Maros. Morning, everyone. I'm present.
Councillor Itim Daka.
Councillor Itim Daka, present.
Councillor F. Daka.
Daka, present. Thank you.
I'm present. I'm from the ANC.
Councillor Mrukuli.
Molweni and Kon.
Councillor Nakamele.
Manibulise Marosi ndikhona. Inkosi.
Councillor Neetlen.
Teenwoordig, baie dankie.
Councillor Niaus.
Môre Niaus teenwoordig.
Councillor Ndondini.
Morning, present.
Councillor Peterson.
Morning, Rosemary. I'm present from the PBI.
Councillor Philander.
Morning, Rosemary. I'm present from Good.
Councillor Katana.
Good morning, everyone. Councillor Katana from the DA is present.
Councillor Kampe.
Councillor Kambi present. Have a fashion Nalena Kazumbut from the AFF, guys.
Councillor Roelse.
Goeiemôre, Maroos. Councillor Roelse present. Good morning, everybody.
Councillor Cyphers.
Present, Maroos. Good morning.
Councillor Summers.
Good morning, Summers present.
Councillor Smart.
Councillor Smart is on sick leave, Rosemary.
Thank you. Councillor Snyman.
I am present, Rosemary. Thank you.
Councillor Stander.
I'm present, Rosemary. Good morning. Thank you.
Councillor Toto. Alderman van Niekerk.
Good morning. I'm present. Thank you.
Alderman van Wyk.
Good morning, Rosemary. I'm present. Thanks.
Councillor von Brandes.
I'm present. Thank you, Rosemary.
Councillor Forster.
Goeiemôre, teenwoordig.
Councillor Wessels.
I'm present. Thank you, Rosemary.
Councillor Van Wyk.
Good morning, Rosemary, present.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Rosemary. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask the MM if there are any applications for leave of absence from the administration point of view.
Morning, Speaker. Morning, everybody. Mr. Davia Duenas will be a bit late. Otherwise, no other applications for leave of absence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. We're going to continue now with item 4, disclosure of interest by councillors, item 6 of the Code of Conduct for councillors, and disclosure of benefits by municipal staff members, item 5 of the Code of Conduct for municipal staff members. I'm going to ask if there's anybody that has anything to declare. I see nothing. I'm going to continue. The next item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meetings. Item 5.1, minutes of ordinary e-council meeting held on the 30th of November. Could I have a proposer?
Adam so proposed.
And may I have a seconder, please?
Arnott will second.
Thank you very much. It carries. The next item is 5.2, minutes of special e-council meeting held on the 8th of December. May I have a proposer, please?
Councillor Mbete will propose, Speaker.
Thank you. And may
Von
I have
Brandes will second.
Thank you very much. Therefore carries. Item 6 is questions of which notice has been given. We've received none. I'm moving on to item 7.1, minutes of the Mayoral Committee held on the 16th of November. Could I have that noted, please?
Barnard will note.
I also second.
Thank you very much, councillors. We move on to 8.1, reports to the Mayoral Committee held on the 18th of January. Item 2.4, I'm going to move on. It's item 8.1.1, councillors' accounts in arrears. The first person to speak for October 2023, the first person to speak on this item is Councillor Clark. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning. As we know, the Section 14 of Schedule 7 of the Structures Act states that a councillor may not be in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges for a period longer than 3 months. I'm happy to announce that no councillors' accounts were in arrears for the month of October 2023, and we so know. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, councillor. The next party to speak on this item is Councillor Tampi. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I would just like to congratulate our leaders, because at some point, as a leadership, we ought to set the example. We cannot be the ones swimming in debt while we are busy claiming money from the community. So thank you, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, councillor. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Cronje. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I second it.
Thank you. The item therefore carries. We'll move on to item 8.1.2, the recommendation of the write-off of certain irrecoverable debt in November 2023. The first person to speak on this item, could I please ask whoever's microphone is on to please switch the microphone off? Thank you. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Adams. You have 2 minutes, please.
Morning, Speaker. Morning, everyone on YouTube. Morning to all the councillors. Morning, Mzansi. It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to make the recommendation as recommended on pages 86 to 89 to write off the irrecoverable debt of our poor people in our community. I therefore recommend, Speaker, that we as council write off these debt, as our communities are in bad circumstances outside and cannot afford to pay these irrecoverable debts. I therefore recommend the recommendation as made on page 86 to 89. Thank you. I dial as well.
Thank you very much, councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the ANC, Councillor Lento. You have 2 minutes, please.
Molweni Speaker, molweni kumeya, kumntu wonke, my fellow colleagues. Thina kwa-ANC siyavuya kuba le ngxelo iqatshelwe, and siyavuya ngoba kuzacinyela abantu amatyala. Ile nto kudala siyishumayela, and u-ANC le nto kudala ishumayela. So, but any concern yethu ngoba sikuzawucinyela amatyala abantu, Mr. Speaker. Sibethwa yilaa nto xa kuthiwa umntu ucinyela amatyala, funeke ke ngoku xa bezawucinyelwa amatyala kwenze laa letter of authority. La letter of authority maybe bayi-4 kwifemeli, and then abantu abahlala apha eGeorge uyi-1 or 2, maybe ubrother or sister ose-Gauteng or Durban, but funeke balande laa mntu or bafumane ileta kuye i-ID copy. But ingxaki yethu siyavuma mabacinywe, siyavuma bayacinyelwa, but ingxaki yethu apha i-concern khona into yoba funeke laa family ke yokwenza la letter of authority ifune laa mntu yi-1, into yokuba azongqina into yokuba bashiywe ngutata wabo for indlu. But into esiyiqwalasela esiyicengayo siyi-ANC, kuba siyicengi siyayithetha, siyayifuna yenzeke. Sicela laa mntu uhlala phaa kulaa ndlu acinyelwe elaa tyala, kungathiwa kufuna laa family banezi-brothers and lo mntu uyi-1 makenze letter of authority ethi mna utata wam or umama wam wasweleka, ndim ohlala kule ndlu. So sicela ke ngoku nijonge into enjalo ke ngoku. Yilaa nto esibangela into sithi siyavuma but iphinde ibe buthathaka, iphinde ibisokolisa laa nto. Injalo ke, Mr. Speaker, ndifuna ujonga enye ndiyilibala ke ngoku. Ezi ngxaki sineengxaki zezi-owners zezindlu. Sivumele sayipasisa into yokuba makusayine balapha, but ke ngoku mayiqatshelwe please le nto ndigqiba uyithetha asinanto ingamandla njengoba kudala siyithetha le item eleke sithi item e-1 qho. Enkosi Speaker, utsho ukhongolose umbutho omkhulu wesizwe obhizi Ward 8. Viva ANC, siyamthatha Ward 8. Enkosi.
Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to all colleagues. As the ANC, we are grateful and we take note of this report that is in front of us of the writing off of debt, because that is what we have been fighting for and that is what we have been asking for our people, for the debt to be written off. But the only problem that we have is the letter of authority that a person needs to bring or they need to sign, because, for example, you find out it's 4 people in the house and 2 reside here and the others are not here. So in order for the letter of authority, they have to get that other person or those people that are not here in order for the debt to be written off. Yes, it's a good initiative, but also it becomes a problem to our people because of they have to get hold of the other person in order for the debt to be written off. So what we are trying to ask, or what we are actually asking, is let the person who actually resides or the person who stays in the house, let him be the one who signs the letter of authority so that the debt can be written off, instead of asking for people who are not around for them to come and assist in terms of this letter of authority. So that is actually the challenge that we are actually facing. But all in all, this is what we have been asking for, and it's the same item that we keep on talking about. And so let it just be noted on that part of the letter of authority. Yeah, the ANC councillor who is taking over Ward 8 has spoken. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is the EFF. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Lento, can you stop talking as umbalula? Be clear. Be clear, please, because that's umthathu Ward 8 ungakho clear. As we sorry about that, Speaker. We as the EFF, we support the recommendations as they are. And also the thing, lento yokuthonywa kwamatyala, it's a great initiative, because ekugqibeleni iyabanceda abantu bakuthi. And ekugqibeleni, le letter of authority is impossible by myself ngubana, because ekugqibeleni sithi ngoku nabana unelungelo locima ityala. Officially loo nto asifake engxakini ngoba kubanintsi abantu abaklema izindlu apha ngoba urhuphululo esiyaziyo loo nto abantu makakhongolo siyayazi loo nto because niya-operate nani phaa. So ngoku irayithi into yoba kubekho lo kufuneke ibe nguye osayinayo. Amphenduli, enkosi, but ke intle niqhubeke masipala we-DA nicimisa abantu amatyala bazophila kakuhle.
Yasigezela kodwa qambi.
Councillors, please watch your microphones. Thank you. Can I have a translation, please?
Thank you, sir. We as the EFF would like to highlight the first fact that this is a good initiative of the writing off of debt of these beneficiaries. It's a good thing, but we just would like to stress on the fact that it can't suffice to let anyone just sign on a letter of authority. Yeah, a letter of authority should be signed by the relevant persons, as if this letter is then opened to be signed by anyone, it opens the door for corruption to prevail. As some of us know that there are many beneficiaries who claims houses that are not legally theirs. So to let a person sign on a letter of authority that is not meant for them opens that door even wider. So we thank this initiative. It's a good initiative. It's just that we have a concern around the letter of authority being signed by anyone, anyhow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next speaker on the item. It is Councillor Kruger. You have 1 minute, please.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, everyone. I second the recommendation made by my DA colleague, Councillor Adams. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. We'll move on to item 8.1.3, the recommendation of the write-off of emergency tariffs on smart water meter billing. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Johnson. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this report is to obtain council approval to write off emergency tariff on certain smart water meters and to provide 100% relief for water leakages caused by the installation process. In accordance with Section 95 of the Municipal Act, our municipality aims to establish a positive relationship with our residents and provide transparent information about services cost. The implementation of emergency water tariffs in December 2022, following the Council's decision, was a response to Level 1 water restrictions due to the increased demand exceeding our production capacity. The Smart Water Meter Project, a pioneer project which is extremely essential, has faced some challenges as any other project. The transition from arrears billing to a live data billing has resulted in a higher than normal initial water consumption reading for residents. Additionally, some leakages attributed to the installation process have been reported. This item thus seeks council permission to alleviate the strain on consumers caused by these instances. It's crucial to recognize the long-term benefits of the smart water meter project, thus including the automated billing cycles, the daily water usage monitoring, and the prompt leak notification that enable better water consumption management. I therefore propose to council that A, we approve the right of the emergency tariff for new smart water meters installation and provide 100% relief to reported water leakage caused by this installation process, and B, that we require a monthly report on the water leakage and new water meter connection. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak, or the next party to speak on this is the TBI. You have 1 minute.
Hallo Speaker. Speaker, die 8.1.3 is 'n onvolledige item. Geen bedrag of beslag is aangeheg aan hierdie item. Die waterbeperking het George Municipaliteit se raad besluit geneem op die 14de Desember 2022 dat die damvlak laag was. Die noodtariewe was nooit afgeskryf nie. En dit moet ons eintlik na die 3de maand gereview was in Februarie. Mr. Speaker, die vervangingsbeleid. Volgens die metervervangingsbeleid ontvang 'n meterverslag vanaf siviel wat daarna volgens 'n regstelling word gedoen op die versoek. Punt 1. Die rekening word gemonitor vir 3 maande om te sien dat die gebruiker terugkeer na die normale nadat die verslag ontvang is deur die water of elektrisiteit afdeling.
Thank you, Councillor. Unfortunately, your time is up. I'm going to ask for a translation, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Uyachaza ke ukhansela into yokubana ngokomgaqo omkhubo okanye okhoyo, upolicy ekhoyo, ii-tariffs zange zibhalwe phantsi ngoba uthi idam lalisezantsi. Lisezantsi nje zange sinikwe ingxelo yamanzi akhoyo, into ethetha ukuthi khona ukungabali kakuhle okukhoyo okuye kubangele into yokubana ingavisisani kakuhle indaba yokubalwa okanye ye-akhawunti ye-water namanzi avuzayo ebangela into yokubana sifumane ii-akhawunti okanye ezingezizo. Uthe esaqhubeka ke esathetha labe liyaphela ixesha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The next person to speak on this item is the EFF. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We as EFF would like to warn and advise George Municipality to do away with this tendency of overbilling our people without proper investigation regarding their smart meter reading, which are mostly found not accurate, as the concerned company is just giving false readings that are not corresponding with the exact readings of the specific household. We would like to advise the municipality to employ more artisans to repair all the leaks in water infrastructure with the aim of reducing the amount of water lost by leaks to 10% of the current rate. So we as EFF, we advise the George Municipality, as they have a relationship with the African fields, that produces artisans. To take note of our recommendation or advice as per.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. Your time is up. We're going to move on to the next speaker on this item, and that's Councillor Wessels. You have 1 minute, please.
Thanks, Speaker. I second the recommendation of Councillor Johnson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. We're going to move on to item 8.1.4, the recommendation for the write-off of certain irrecoverable debt, November 2023. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Suffers. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, good morning, Councillor, Speaker. Speaker, die item is 8.1.4 is 'n standaard item wat maandeliks na die Finansies Section 80 komitee kom. Dit handel oor die afskryf van deernisaansoeke. Die recommendation is op bladsy 96, Speaker. I would just like to make a correction on the recommendation. It should be that the report be noted by council, and therefore I propose so, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. If you could just put that in the chat box just for record purposes. And for the record, you are changing the recommendation to that the report be noted. I move on to the next speaker on the item. It's Councillor Nkumile. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We as EFF would like to clearly state that as much as we support or take note the writing of Ilanduza recoverable debt, we would like George municipality to not ignore the major problem that our people are sitting with, of the ownership, which is part of problems that causes the irrecoverable debt when it comes to as to who is exactly the owner of the property. So we as EFF, we advise the municipality to conduct a project that will make our people to be the actual owners or the exact owners of the property. We know and acknowledge that the problem that was created since 1998 by power project in these houses, there is a mess, especially in our communities, that needs the municipality to look into it, as it is giving us hard time when it comes to
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much, Councillor. Your time is up, and we'll move on to the last speaker on this item, which is Councillor Elder Lady Kritzinger. You have 1 minute, please.
Good morning, Speaker. Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I want to second my colleague that made the recommendation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. We'll move straight on to item 8.1.5, the councillor's account in arrears in November 2023. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Simmons. Councillor Simmons.
Thank you, Speaker. Item 8.1.5 reads as follows. Council accounts in arrears for November 2023. Purpose of report: to inform Council of councillors' accounts in arrears for longer than 3 months as at 30th of November 2023. Section 14 contained in Schedule 7 of the Structures Act states that a councillor may not be in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges for a period longer than 3 months. Therefore, Council resolved to recommend that no councillor's account was in arrears on 30th of November 2023. Attachments none. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor. Councillors, your microphones are on, please. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor America.
Speaker, I second the recommendation made by my colleague, Councillor Summers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The item then carries. We'll move on to item 8.1.6, is the application to purchase a portion of the Binner Street Road Reserve situated adjacent to ARF 16815 in George. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor van Brandes. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. This item has been discussed on numerous council platforms in huge details. I will then just therefore propose the recommendation on page 106 and 107 A to K. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Johnson. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the proposal made by Councillor van Brandes.
Thank you. The item therefore carries. We'll move on to item 8.1.7, the sale of ARF 7950 Puckelsdorp, situated at the entrance to Rosedale, to be developed as a retail and shop facility. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor. Sorry, my apologies. I've just realized that we need to present 8.1.8 before we do 8.1.7. So therefore, I'm going to just swap them around at my discretion, and we'll go with 8.1.8 first, the proposal to swap the leasing of a portion of ARF 7950 Puckelsdorp to ARF 7938 Puckelsdorp. And the first person to speak on this item is Councillor van Brandes. So you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Speaker. In November 2018, Council resolved to lease ARF 7950 to the Rosedale Educational Youth Community Centre. There were complications with the subdivision and the zoning of this property. In 2022, the applicant contacted the director and inquired regarding the status of this matter. Upon investigation, it was found that no lease agreement has been signed and that the subdivision has not yet effected. Subsequent to this, a number of meetings was held with the applicant, and it was put to them to consider the swap. The applicant agreed to this proposal as no subdivision is required and there is place for future development. If we look at the item, you will see the proposed land swap is in the same street about 12 houses down in Genesis Street in Rosedale. It is important to note when this item was brought to the Section 80, there were 3 options before the Section 80 because the lease agreement was never effected. There is no legal obligation to effect the swap, but as a government that cares for its youth, we naturally choose to swap in consultation with the ward councillor, Councillor Melvin Roelse. We encourage the development of youth and want anybody that works with our youth to have the opportunity to enrich them. I therefore propose the recommendation as on page 132 and 133 A to H. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next to speak on this item is the ANC. You have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, Speaker, let me first greet everyone present in the council today. Thank you to the author of this item, the colleague that have just ushered it into council. Speaker, I see that this item is brought into this meeting for noting, but for us, it gives us an opportunity just to reflect on what has happened in the past. This municipality, Speaker, before, it used to support the initiative of youth development under the then George Youth Council, the likes of ourselves, Councillor Roelse and Councillor Kleinhans. We are products of that organization, Speaker. Speaker, it is said that for more than 10 years now that we have had nothing that speaks to youth development from this council or this municipality. It shows a lack, or it shows that there is no interest from the political heads of this organization to see that we have good initiatives that speak to youth development, Speaker. Then again, with this,
item brought in front of us, we see a hope that at least in a way it's coming back, that there's interest in new development. However, Speaker, I want to say that our support as the ANC to this item bears no political gain. And we hope that the DA-led municipality is not going to go back and collect votes in the name of this. We owe it to the youth of George as the municipality to give them this kind of service. However, Speaker, at times that you'll find in the mouth of politicians of this organization that certain services that are not rendered to our communities, they run behind the name of being a political mandate or not being a political mandate of the municipality. Now, if we fail to development or we fail to plan for development of our youth, Speaker, then it means that we don't have hope for those that are coming behind us. So with those words, Speaker, we are saying that it is maybe good that we even go as far as revisiting those initiatives through the then office that used to do it, of making sure that we've got youth structures that are vibrant. Because what you'll find today, you'll find old people in the name of young people going around and collecting money, said that they want to develop young people. So we support this initiative and we hope that in the same spirit that we are seeing from this council of the swap, and that it's going to get the necessary attention that it deserves, and it's going to be treated so with all other areas of this town. Thank you, Speaker. There's a lot to say around youth development that is not happening. However, one does not want to make it a political thing. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Carolus. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. The PBI is in support of the proposal.
Thank you. Is that it? Thank you. I'll move on then. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Kleinhans. You have 1 minute, please.
Speaker, I would like to support the recommendation made by my colleague.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. We will now go back to item 8.1.7, which is the sale of ARF 7950 Pakkelsdorp, situated at the entrance to Rosedale, to be developed as a retail and shop facility. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor van Brandes. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Within all the human settlement sites, planning has noticed that a lot of these business and community sites was never developed. So they started working through them to ensure that the original proposed zoning for business and social development actually takes place. This item is one of them. In terms of the swap that we just spoke about, once the swap is completed, we would like to put this property out for proposal to call that all interested parties get an opportunity to propose business opportunities on this site. There is a set of conditions in this proposal as per the recommendation. The conditions includes an anchor tenant, and thus a bigger development will take place, not just one little shop. We want to bring the services to the people. I therefore propose the recommendation as on page 120 to 122, A to H. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Toto. You have 3 minutes, please.
Again, thank you. Thanks to the author. Again, thanks to the colleague ushering it into council. Speaker, we see that it's also for noting, however, it gives us an opportunity as the ANC to share how disappointed we are in the ruling party's cancer of selling every piece of available land to big corporates. And Mr. Speaker, we are new. We are in the new political dispensation as a country now, but we are seeing tendencies of the old one, where you'll find in every black community or non-white, white companies owning the piece of land where economic activities are happening. Now, it is a failure on us as the municipality or on us as government not to transform the status quo of George, where you'll find big corporates own every piece of land. Now it's going as far as to our backyards. Now, Mr. Speaker, please, I hope that George municipality in the near future is going to find it in its DNA to make sure that we build buildings as the municipality that we are going to lease out, rather than selling. When are we making money? I'm sure that the money that we're making for services from these people on rates, it's not enough or would not be in the same if we were to build our own buildings and start, whether we look for an anchor, what do you call it, shop or anchor tenant that is going to rent from us, than us having to sell a piece of land later on. If we must buy it, if we need anything, and then we'll have to buy it for a larger amount than we have sold it. So I'm saying, Speaker, as the ANC, we know this, but we are telling you that this cancer needs to come to an end. That every piece of land is for sale, is for sale, is for sale. Let us start moving forward in saying that we've identified this piece of land, we are going to develop it, or we'll give it to Andy, or we'll open a process or a tender process, or go out there and advertise for Andisari and Wompit to go they themselves and lease, than giving it to a big a company or corporate that is going to make it private and charge their own rates, and our people, they cannot afford, and it ends up being rated by foreigners that we are not even able to regulate in terms of where they store this money. And even in terms of employment, there is nothing that will happen to hold these people accountable. The only thing that we want is to sell land. Let us stop this thing. I'm saying that it's not the right thing that we continue with selling. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Carolus. You have 1 minute.
Ja, speaker, dankie. Die PBI wil graag 'n teenvoorstel maak ten opsigte van die verkoop van erf 7950. Die PBI is in beginsel ten gunste van ekonomiese ontwikkeling in ons minder gegoede areas. Ons deel egter dieselfde sentiment as die ANC in hierdie verband. Ons as die PBI is bekommerd oor die prosesse gevolg en die deursigtigheid van die prosesse gevolg. Hier word geen melding gemaak van die bydraes van plaaslike besigheidsforums en organisasies nie. Ons voel ook dat hierdie projek 'n munisipale projek moet word wat deur die LED kantore gedryf kan word. Hierdie is 'n geleentheid vir die George munisipaliteit om beter besigheidsgeleenthede te skep teen goedkoper tariewe. Ook 'n geleentheid vir die George munisipaliteit om sy bande met plaaslike besigheidsforums te verbeter, onder andere die Pakkelsdorp besigheidsforum wat nie bewus is van die verwikkelinge op erf 7950 nie. Dankie, speaker.
Can we have a translation, please?
Thank you. We as the PBI, as Councillor Carolus is alluding, we share the sentiment as alluded by the ANC. Our suggestion is that we are against this sale of this land, as this is does not make provision for the local business forums or even business people like the Pakkelsdorp Business Forum, who are not even aware of this sale of this property. We therefore are against this the sale of this property, as it does not cater for the needs of our local communities and local business people on business forums. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've noted in the chat room that there is a counter proposal. The project must be LED project driven by the LED department. I've asked for a seconder. In the meantime, I will continue with the next speaker, which is Councillor Foster. You have 1 minute, please.
Goeiemôre Speaker. Kom gaan hierdie proses moet fyn dophou om te verhoed dat groot erwe die 'n groot gevestigde gevestigde besighede opgeraap word. In hierdie areas moet klein en medium besighede bevorder word en inwoners van die gebied area moet ondersteun word in die verband. Te veel buitelanders neem in ons gemeenskap oor van besighede aanbetref. Inteendeel skep hulle nie werk in ons gemeenskap, maar stel net hulle eie mense aan. Goed het nie 'n probleem met die besighede nie, maar die plaaslike gemeenskap voorkeur geniet. Dankie.
Thank you. Can I have a translation, please?
Councillor,
Before we have the translation.
Abahambisani kahle nale process ithathiweyo ngoba kaloku ii-areas ezi zeshishini kanye zebhizinesi ezi azithi zibakhethe abantu abanamashishini amancinci. Uthi ke akalangxaki nophuhliso, malenziwe uphuhliso, kuphuhliswe iindawo zethu, kodwa ke abantu abanamashishini amancinci okanye abantu abafuneke bexhamle nabo bafumane baxhamle, kunganikwa abantu abasele benamashishini amakhulu abazewuthi baxhamle ngakumbi. Enkosi.
Thank you, Ms. Pallas. I just need to ask corporate services to please somebody to monitor. I tried to stop it because somebody's microphone was on when she started the translation, and I need somebody from corporate just to make sure that when I do talk that Mr. Pallas is aware of the fact that I'm trying to talk. Thank you. We'll move on to the next speaker, which is the PA, and unfortunately, to my knowledge, we do not have a PA representative on the council, on the meeting this morning. I'm therefore going to hand over to the last speaker, which is Councillor Roelofse. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, everybody. Community development and youth development has been a major goal of myself as ward councillor and our ward committee that we've been working towards. Building infrastructure and creating opportunities for the development of our SMMEs, our women and youth, has also been a cornerstone of our flagship program that we are currently running in partnership with Pakkelsdorp Business Chamber. This retail shop will create jobs and various opportunities for local entrepreneurs of our ward, and it will benefit the broader community of not only Rosedale and Eden Park, but Pakkelsdorp as well. Speaker, I therefore support this proposal by my colleague, Jackie van Brandes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, councillors. We therefore have two proposals. We are going to go over to the vote, and I'm going to ask that the vote is for or against the counter proposal, which I will read once again. The counter proposal reads as follows, and I just want to get there. The project must be LED project driven by the LED department. You are going to vote for or against that proposal. I'm going to ask Rosemary to please go through the attendance, the roll call, and ask the councillors to vote, please.
Councillor Adams.
Against.
Councillor Alexander. Absent. Councillor America.
Against.
Councillor Barnard. Against. Councillor Brown.
Against.
Councillor Busak.
For.
Councillor Carolus.
For.
Councillor Clark.
Against.
Councillor Kuris.
For.
Councillor Cronje.
Against.
Councillor Dutoit.
Against.
Councillor Edie Vigland. Councillor R.G. Vigland.
R.G. Vigland against.
Councillor Fry. Councillor Gom.
For the proposal.
Councillor Greef,
For Rosemary.
Councillor Gouldick,
Against.
Councillor Hani,
For the proposal, Rosemary.
Councillor Jantjies,
Against, Madam.
Councillor Jay,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Johnson,
Against.
Councillor Kleinans,
Against Rose.
Councillor Alderman Kritzinger, sorry,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Kruger,
Against. Thank you.
Councillor Lintu,
For.
Councillor Losey,
Against.
Councillor Lau,
For Rosemary.
Councillor Mantele,
For.
Councillor Mbeti,
Against Meadows.
Councillor Etim Daka,
For.
Councillor F. Daka,
For.
Councillor Murukuli,
In favor.
Councillor Nakamele,
Yes, we as EFF, we are voting for a counter proposal.
Councillor Neethling, Councillor Niaus,
Excuse me, against.
Councillor Niaus,
House against.
Councillor Ntondini,
In favor of the proposal. Thank you.
Councillor Peterson,
For the proposal.
Councillor Philander,
For.
Councillor Katana,
Against.
Councillor Kampi,
For.
Councillor Roose,
Against the counter proposal for the DA.
Councillor Cyphers,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Summers,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Snyman,
I'm against. Thank you, Rosemary.
Councillor Standard,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Toto,
For the proposal.
Councillor Alderman van die Kerk,
Against Rosemary.
Alderman van Wyk,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor von Brandes,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Foster,
For Rosemary.
Councillor Wessels,
Against Rosemary.
Councillor Windwy,
Against Rosemary.
speakers.
Rosemary, there are 2 votes in the chat box. However, I cannot allow Councillor Fischland's vote. He entered the meeting during the voting session, and therefore his vote cannot be counted in with the for this item. So, if you can continue, please. Councillors, the voting is over. I'm not going to entertain hands. The item is in the process of being counted, and those that were in the meeting will therefore be acknowledged, and those that weren't will not be accepted. Thank you.
May I proceed, Speaker?
You may, Rosemary.
Those in favour, I've counted 19. Those not in favour, I've counted 31, and the one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to repeat that. Those in favour of the amended proposal, 19. Those against the amended proposal, 31. The item therefore carries as presented in the item for council, and the item therefore carries. We will now continue with item 1.9, the George Municipal Cemeteries Master Plan. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor J.E. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this item is to report the progress on the current capacity of cemeteries, identify sites. Now, the George Municipality appointed SMEC to undertake a cemetery infrastructure master plan for the George Municipality. Now, this plan gives details of the current status of the cemeteries and areas identified for further investigation for the expansion of the cemeteries. Now, the areas investigated are the George, Wilderness, and Uniondale. Various properties within Uniondale, George, and Wilderness were identified as potential option for the establishment of new cemeteries. Now, there were properties that were identified to be potentially suitable and recommended for further investigation based on the report by Smith. Now, the municipality further appointed Zutari for the investigation of two identified potential sites for your George and Uniondale. Therefore, Speaker, I would like to propose the recommendation on page 138. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next one to speak on this item is the ANC. You have 3 minutes, please.
Mantatel tubanibulise kusomlomo. Ndimela ke njengomuntu othunywe ngukhongolose. Thina simkhongolose, we've got a concern about these statistics of the graveyard. And kwaye ke ilethi ixhala singu-ANC. Njengoba siyazi uba apha i-statistics alapha kuthemba lethu ngu-85.85% ibe nto Randen nalalapha amangcwaba lapha eGeorge. But siyavuya makujongwe neminye imihlaba apho kuzawubekwa khona abantu bakuthi. And Uniondale, njengoba ingu-R624 has been completed and found acceptable, but ingxaki yethu ilapha kule yoba kushota indawo zokungcwabela abantu bethu. I-Tos Randen kulo R253 ikude for thina because asikayazi uba apha ethemba lethu uba kuzawujonga kula mangcwaba lapha next na ecamkwalana akusekhona. But elithi ixhala ke ngoku xa sizawuthi siyongcwaba abantu bethu eTos Randen, imagine ke iTos Randen indawo. Thina ke singabantu bakuthi sithi xa singcwabayo sibatransport abantu, sihayirishe ibhasi neeteksi into yoba makuyiwe emadlakeni. Abanye bayaphuma bayovelela abantu babo emadlakeni, so izasibetha kakhulu. Bakunojonga lo mhlaba ulapha njengoba ke ningawuchazi nithi uZuthari uzawujonga yonke le nto, ningawuchazi uba undawoni na. Ingaske ke ibe kanti lo wethu themba lethu singayi kwenye indawo outside iGeorge. Siyazi kaloku abantu bethu ngeChristmas nange-New Year abantu bethu bavizithela amadlaka wethu. So ngoba evizithela bethu sinabantu abafana uMapule ngeChristmas, umuntu uMapule uyoklina ingcwaba lomyeni wakhe. So xa kude ke ngoku uyovizithela amadlaka. So singavuya ibe lapha ingabi seToosranteni. Siyabona ke eToosranteni 25% ispace esikhoyo ekungcwatywe kuso, but 75% usemninzi for ukungcwaba. And Toosranteni kanti asinoyikhomperisha laa nto nethemba lethu. Siyacela ke uqwalaselo endawo le yethu kufutshane. Ndiyavuma ke nale yaseYork Street kano-60% sezawugcwala nawo, iyaphela indawo. And asifuni ibe nendawo efana zaseDurban apha ibhokisi lariswa ngecala. Sizama ke noko makwenziwe ibe lapha kuthi kufutshane indawo. And abantu bethu, abanye abantu onohlanga bayatshiswa, abethu asibatshisi abantu, siyabangcwaba. So ke siyavuya ke ngoku ingaske ibe sethemba lethu lo mhlaba wenziwe kanjani na. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. Can I have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings again. We as the ANC, we have great concern with regards to the number of the percentage of 85% in Temaletu. Yes, we are glad that land or earths have been identified for the grave sites, but as we know that Temaletu is actually a big area and the states in Temaletu is bigger than Toosrantane. So we are actually concerned. Yes, we see that Toosrantane's AF253, yes, it has been identified, but the problem is it is quite far and it's a distance from us as Temaletu residents. Because remember, when we hold our funerals, people have to be transported. We actually hire transport services, buses and taxis for our people to go to the gravesite. Now, if our grave sites are further or are far from our people, then it means that it will be quite difficult for us to be able to hold our funerals in that manner. So it won't be suitable for us if it is in Toosrantane because it is quite far, and some of our people like to go and visit the grave sites, visit their past loved ones when it's special occasions, be your Christmas or birthdays of the past ones. So it's it will be very difficult for them to travel to Toosrantane in if it's such a distance. Yes, we see the York Street is almost full as well, 60%. So there is no space, and we don't want a situation maybe like in Durban where people have to be buried while the boxes are actually standing, not lying. So we won't like to reach that level because we bury our people, and we know that maybe in other cultures they cremate their people, so it won't take much space, but we are people who bury our people, so it will be very difficult for us if our people are being buried far from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
ezi-identifayiweyo kule mihlaba izokokhiwa. But kukho iindawo ezifana noMayunendale, kukho iindawo ezi-identifayiweyo phana ii-urban places. Ezaa ndawo zisentabeni, kodwa still zikhona phaa kwi-master plan. So isigqibo besithathiwe, ikomiti mayihambe iyojonga ezi ndawo ingaba zirayithi for ukokhiwa na. But ke ngoku kuyandothusa xa ithathiwe le nto bekuthiwa izo-withdraw izophinda ibuyele kwikomiti. Iveske yathathwa yasiwa kwi-mayoral committee, yagqiba yathathwa yasiwa phaa kwi-council. While kusekho iproblem bekuthiwe funeke qala ikomiti isote out. But namhlanje lapha kwi-council kufuneke thina silanduke sisekhonde. But loo nto ithetha ukuthi siyayicela le nto mayiphinde ibuyele kwikomiti, kwi-section 80 committee, iyolungisa ezaa discrepancies bezikhona apha kuyo, ezi bezikhona zingagqitywanga yikomiti. Ibuye ke ngoku igqibile apho bathe siyile kwi-site visits, sazibona ezi ndawo no zirayithi for ukokhiwa, unless ke ngoku kukho i-agenda behind it. Apho kuzothathwa ifakwe kwi-master plan, kuthiwe umzekelo nantsi ithemba lethu, nantsi inonte, nanti iBorders. Kanti ezo zinto zizothatha 20 years zokokhiwa, kuqalwe ngezi sezirayithi. So kuyo yonke le nto yenziwayo kwi-master plan, siyacela ikomiti mayiphinde ihlalele phantsi iyijonge. Enkosi.
Thank you. Could I have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. We as the ANC, we don't actually oppose this master plan. We are not saying we have a problem because this was laid to the Section 80 committee and there were problems that arrived there, that we saw that there are problems here and there. And this matter was supposed to be referred back because a site inspection was supposed to be done by the people or the members of the committee, because in this master plan there were places that were on top of the mountain that were also in the master plan that was impossible for them to be built or for them to be in this master plan. Hence, we were expecting for the members of the committee to go and make a site visit so that we can come back and say, yes, we did go and we went to inspect the place and it is in good condition or it can proceed. But that report did not come and we did not do a site visit. Now we are surprised because it was taken to a mayoral committee. From the mayoral committee, now it's taken to council today, but we were never informed of the site visit. So what we're actually saying, this matter or this item should be referred back so that it can come back with a full report and saying that a site visit was done and then the master plan can now take place unless there are other plans that we are unaware of, maybe that says that we can include Thembaletu and other locations such as Borders and others. Now, it only takes 20 years for such areas or for those master plan to actually take place. So we are not in support of this. We say the item should be referred back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Busak. You have 1 minute, please. Councillor, your microphone is on. Councillor Ntundini. Councillor Busak, you have 1 minute. Is there anyone going to be speaking on this from the PBI, or can I move on, please? I'm going to make a final request.
Speaker, can you hear me
Yes.
now?
You may continue.
Die PBI welkom die voorstel van die ontwikkeling van die behuisingsprojek. Maar hier is nou eintlik 'n versoek dat ek daar was 'n versoek gewees by die 80 komitee vir 'n ter plate ondersoek. As dit moontlik wat mense 'n clarity kan kry daarso, Speaker. Maar ek wil voortgaan terwyl ek wag vir daai antwoord.
Councillor, if I may just interrupt you. The questions to council, there are rules, and I understand that you are a new councillor, but the rules of order do state that if you have any questions, that they must be put to the council, to me before the time, and that no questions directly to the MM or staff will be allowed during the meeting on any matter. So I'm going to ask you to continue.
We're still waiting for the mayor om ons op te deel in watter komitees ons moet nog indien. So ek hoor dit nou in hierdie raadsvergadering dat daar was 'n versoek gewees vir 'n ondersoek wat geloods word vir hierdie tipe van behuisingsprojekte vir die toekoms. Maar in 2016 was daar ook 'n voorlegging gedoen van 'n ontwikkeling van die behuisingsprojek. Rooi rivier was een van die behuisingsprojekte. En daar het die raad, George Raad, weer dit herroep om 'n tennisbaan op haar die behuisingsgronde te plaas. So, waartoe beweeg ons met hierdie voorgestelde behuisingsprojekte? Ons welkom vir Europe, R325, Delville Park en daai kant. En wat gebeur in die ander kant van die brug vir die integrasie van behuisings?
Thank you, Councillor. Your
Thank you.
1 minute. Your 1 minute is up. Thank you. Can we have a translation, please?
Speaker, this proposal of the housing project is not very clear to us, as we were still waiting on the mayor to advise us as to on which committee do we actually serve. For instance, if one looks at Royal Field, it was a housing project, and it was subsequently now converted to construction of a tennis court. And there's no clarity there as to how they came to that deduction. There are always also issues around Delville Park and other areas, of which there's no clarity as to what is actually happening to these projects. For instance, on the other side of the bridge, to get clarity as to what actually is going on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we please have the next speaker on the item, which is the Good Party, Councillor Lowe. You have 4 minutes.
Dankie, Speaker. Speaker, as good party, neem ons die behoefte aan behuising aangeleente ernstig op. Aangesien dat duisende behoeftiges op die behuisingswaglys is. As raad kan ons nie jaar op jaar die behuisingspipeline verander wat veroorsaak dat projekte stilstaan en nie finaliteit kan bereik nie. Die uitrol van die behuisingsaangeleenthede vir ons mense nie. Ons sien dat met die herprioritisering van projekte dat daar min gefokus word op RDP-huise, maar daar egter gefokus gaan word op die volgende opgradering van informele nedersettings, gapbehuising en sovoorts. Ons is egter bekommerd dat persone wat reeds lankal aansoek gedoen het vir 'n huis nie meer in aanmerking gaan kom vir behuisingsgeleenthede nie. Plakkeskampe spring op soos paddastoele en dit benadeel persone wat meer as 20 en 30 jaar op die behuisingswaglys is. Ja, ons weet dat daar ook huisgesinne is wat jarelank in plakkeskampe woonagtig is en wat 'n behoefte het aan behuising. Maar jy kan nie 'n persoon wat nie eens 5 jaar in plakkeskampe in 'n huis gee, bo die wat reeds lank op die behuisingswaglys is nie. Ons moet konsekwent optree wanneer dit kom by behuisingsaangeleenthede. Dan moet 'n 50-50 scenario wees tussen die wat in informele nedersettings bly en die wat wag vir RDP-huise. Die identifikasie van landparcels en behuisingsprojekte in geheel moenie op die randkante van die dorp sake kern wees nie, maar in die dorp self. As Good Party doen ons 'n ernstige beroep op die burgemeester en die administrasie dat die spoorweghuise as 'n prioriteit beskou moet word en dat daar gesprek gevoer moet word met die partye om die grond oor te dra aan die George munisipaliteit. Op bladsy 451 word die kriteria uiteengesit wat gebruik gaan word vir al die projekte. Ons het nie 'n probleem daarmee nie, maar waar is die child-headed households? Die nasionale behuisingsbeleid maak voorsiening vir hierdie gevalle. As Good Party voel ons Hulle moet ingesluit word. Speaker, we as Good Party made it clear at the council meeting of 23rd February 2021. The Good Manifesto clear, Speaker. We are committed to fight for spatial injustice for our communities. Good is committed to redressing apartheid spatial planning. We do not see in this plan a way in which spatial injustice has been done by apartheid is addressed effectively. Land and housing for our communities in George has become unaffordable. Our manifesto is clear. Land must be used for public good. Your plan is not addressing this, and your time allocation, Speaker, is not allowing this council to debate effectively. So thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I see you can mic off, so we're going to continue. Thank you. The next person to speak on this item is the PA. And unfortunately, as said before, there is no representative of the PA present today. I'm going to hand over to the last speaker on this item, is Councillor Lose. You have 1 minute.
Good morning, Speaker. Speaker, as the Democratic Alliance, we like to second the proposal made by Councillor Jane. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. This item therefore carries. We're going to move on to item 8.1.12, which is the approval of the acquisition of Farm 197204 George, an unregistered subdivision of Farm 197204 George through donation from the Provincial Department of Human Settlements. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Mbete. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the purpose for this item is for the approval for the acquisition of Farm 197 of 204 in George. The new 6611 kV substation in Thembalethu is needed in order to establish sufficient capacity for the required electrification projects in this area and to relieve the strain on the current networks. The site is in portion 207. Portion of portion 204, the farm stand grant number 197, is the property of the Provincial Department of Human Settlement. A 66 kV overhead power line was installed up to proposed site to facilitate the connection to the Greater George 66 kV network, and the proposed substation site needs to be transferred to the municipality. The Department of Human Settlement has agreed to transfer this portion of land for no consideration for the establishment of the substation to increase the electrical capacity for the current UISP project. There were approval processes that were required for the construction of the new 6611 kV electrical substation in Thembalethu. That is the transfer of portion 207, portion of 204 of the farm central number 197 between the Western Cape Department, Human Settlement, and George Municipality. The rezoning of portion 207, portion of portion 204 of the farm central number 197 from agricultural zone to utility, and the building plan approval for the new substation building. So the building plan for the new substation building was submitted for approval to the Building Control Department of George Municipality and was approved early December 2022. The implementation agent, Zutari, submitted a rezoning application, and this process was concluded in June 2023. So, Speaker, I propose the recommendation as it is on page 468 to 469. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Mankele. You have 2 minutes.
Mandibulise Bhungeni Speaker. Singu ANC sithi siyayixhasa olutshintsho lomhlaba utransferwa kwicala likamasipala. Sikwayibulela kakhulu lonto because kuzanyana nendlela yokuxhaswa kombane umbutho wethu omkhulu ka-ANC, because ngokongezwa kwezi power station zisongezwa kuzwelonke plus nalenziwa apha eGeorge, inxalenye yomzamo kaKhongolose ukuthi makuhle izinga locimicimi wombane. Sinethemba kuba nengxaki lesinayo ye-illegal connections iyawukwehla kancinci ngoba amandla ombane noko ayazama unyuka. Siyibone iproject le ka-One Shack One Box i-approved apha kwamasipala kwiindawo ze-informal settlement ingathi ibukhawuleza kancinci because umlo esiwulwayo ekuhlaleni ngenxa yombane olwaphulomthetho unzima kakhulu ngoba ngabantu bethu aba kumele sibabonisile uba benze njani. So siyabulela kakhulu ngale item. Enkosi kakhulu Speaker.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner John.
Speaker.
Thank you.
As ANC, we are in full support of this transfer of land. We are very much grateful because it is to try and support our electricity capacity. By adding this power station, it means that we will try to eliminate the problems that we are facing as a whole country of load shedding. So because we are hoping that this project will actually fast track, and because we are facing a problem with electricity, especially in our communities. We are having a huge problem with electricity. So we would like to see this project being fast tracked so that it can be able to help our people as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Carolus. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. The PBI is in favour.
Thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Yankis. You have 1 minute.
In the light of the seriousness and the necessity of this project, I second the proposal as being alluded to by my colleague, Mbete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. I'm going to move on to item 9, minutes of the Municipal Public Accounts Committee impact for information. There was none. Item 10, reports to Municipal Public Accounts Committee impact. There was nothing. Councillors, it is now just moving on to 12:10. We've been in council now for 2 hours. I'm going to ask that we have break for lunch, and we will resume at 10:50. It gives us about 45 minutes. Sorry, let's make it 1:45. It gives us just over 35 minutes for a lunch break, and then we'll go on with item 11, please. Thank you very much. We're adjourned until 1:45. Thank you. Good afternoon, councillors. My time now says 1:45 exactly. I'm going to ask that every councillor please puts their names in the chat box for their attendance, so that we don't have to go through the roll call procedures all over again. And I'm going to ask that you please watch your microphones when you do join the meeting, because people are joining and their microphones are open. I'm now going to continue with item 11 on today's agenda, which is the tabling of the draft annual report 2022-2023 by the Executive Mayor, Alderman Leon van Wyk. Mayor, you may continue.
Thank you, Speaker. It is indeed an honour and privilege to table the draft annual report for George Municipality for the year ended 30 June 2023. This report incorporates the audited annual financial statements and the clean audit report, i.e. Clean audit report is in effectively an unqualified opinion with no findings, and so that includes that report by the Auditor General. The draft annual report will accordingly be available for comment by the public and councillors prior to the formal approval by council by the end of March 2024. The Executive Mayor's forward and the Municipal Manager's overview provide a good introduction to the annual report prior to delving into the data that is reflected in the report. And what I'm just going to mention a few little facts and interesting components of the draft annual report before us. One aspect of that is that the extent of growth to which our municipality has been exposed is reflected in the value of building plans approved, which has increased from 1.44 billion in the 2021 year to 2.27 billion in 21-22, which reflects an increase of 57%, and then growing further to 3.22 billion in 22-23. So that's a further increase of 42%. And these figures are quite indicative of what has been taking place within our municipality over the past few years. If we then turn to water and looking at the cubic meters or the kiloliters of water that is being used by industry, this has increased from 439,000 in 2021 to 552,000 in 21-22, which is an increase of 25%, and up to 672,000 in 22-23, which is a further increase of 22%. So those are significant hard figures indicating the economic activity that is taking place. The annual report also then deals with our offering to indigents, and there's a fair amount of detail related to that. And I think just in summary there, the approved benefit amounted to 1,122 Rand per month, which is the equivalent of almost 13,500 Rand for the year per indigent for the 22-23 financial year. And that is has increased by 10% for the current year that we are in. If we then look at the annual audited financial statements that are included in this document, and I would implore all of our councillors to certainly take a good look at our audited financial statements. I think I just want to highlight the following items here, that our total assets were 3,967 million in 23, up from 3,440 million in 22, which represented an increase of 525 million. in 1 year, which is very significant. Our interest-bearing debt outstanding was 307 million, which had increased from 242 million. At the year end, on 30 June 23, we held 843 million rands of cash, of which 423 million rand related to unspent conditional grant money that we held at that stage, where that money had already been advanced to the municipality. Our total revenue from own sources has crossed the 2 billion mark, which is 2012 million rand, which is certainly the first time that we've reached that level. And we also, in that 23 financial year, received over 1 billion rand in grants at 1,045 million. So the total revenue amounted to 3,057 million rand. Our total expenditure ended at 2,645 million rand. If we then look at our employee-related costs, which is a very major item among our expenditures, though that amounted to 617 million rand for the year as opposed to 590 in the previous year, which surprisingly was only an increase of 4.6%. Also indicative then, although there were increases, that the additional staff that we took on during that period of the year did not really reflect too highly. In the year, we also accounted for impairments, in other words, bad debts, of 150 million, which was an increase up from 97 million rand in the previous year. We managed to spend 723 million rand in capital expenditure, and the total expenditure that we expended in George, comprising capital and operating expenditure, amounted to 3,369 million rand for the year. Now, if you just to cast your minds back to the comment that I made in my earlier speech in relation to the capital spend in comparison to total expenditure, you will notice that in this particular year, we were above 20% of our total expenditure went on capital expenditure, and that indicates the speed and the extent to which we are spending in that category in dealing with infrastructure. In the year ended 30 June 2020, our total expenditure was 2,180 million. And if you then compare that to where we have come to in this past financial year over that 3-year period, we will notice an increase of 54.5% that took place over 3 years, which is a significant increase, I believe, well ahead, in all probability, of all other municipalities in the country. In the financial year ended 30 June 2023, we experienced the beginning of the severe load shedding impact that has resulted in electricity revenue declining from 821 million in 2022 to 786 million in 23, which represents a decrease of 35 million. And that is after taking into account the price increase that we would have incurred. And if we just look to the other side of that coin, being our bulk purchases, that decreased by 14 million rand. But this decline is also reflected in the actual decline of electricity units that were purchased from the municipality, where 59 million less kilowatt hours were purchased in the year, which is a decline of 12.5%. And that is indicative of the severity of load shedding. And certainly it is a matter that is of concern to ourselves and I think for the entire economy and particularly within local government. In the 23-24 financial year, we naturally adjusted our budgets in anticipation of ongoing load shedding. I wish to congratulate and thank the accounting officer, Dr. Gratz, the chief financial officer, Mr. Du Plessis, the directors and all staff involved in the achievement of these excellent financial results in what was another difficult year. I similarly wish to thank the Director of Planning and Development, Ms. Waring, and the cross-directorate team for the preparation of the draft annual report. The compilation of such a report is a major undertaking to coordinate, incorporate data, and to check its accuracy in time for the tabling today. And where required, improvements will be made in the coming weeks prior to the final approval of the annual report taking place by the end of March. And Speaker, I'm accordingly tabling this draft annual report and my colleagues will expand further in their speeches. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We're going to continue then with this item. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor van Brandis. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mayor, for tabling and the breakdown of some of our crucial indicators and stats. Today, I want to focus more on Chapter 3 of the report. This section gives us an overview of the crucial service achievements of the municipality that were realized in 2022-23. I read an article this morning on how Joburg is getting worse, and the author states, a big factor for this decline is the political will is lacking. He further states that politicians must want to do good. If this is absent, nothing will happen except the feasting on public finances. Thus, a combination of political will, competent admin, and technical knowledge is the key to a successful municipality. So today, councillors, I want to say the proof is in the pudding. We have an annual report before us with over 200 pages highlighting service achievements. We can see we have a competent administration through the SDBIP. The municipality received numerous awards. Water and Sanitation Department scooped 4 major awards. The municipality embarked on on-site sanitation technology in informal settlements. George Municipality is the first electricity provider in the country to pilot freely licensed software. The municipality emergency backup generator projects that rolled out across our basic infrastructure. Numerous roads upgrades that took place across the Greater George. Just shy of 4,000 building plans assessed and processed. The municipality, in partnership with the National Treasury, initiation to develop the template to Note 1. Our numerous events, our mini library for the blind. In community services, our homeless programs, our nutritional centers that got new equipment, mental health programs rolled out, our blue flags that were raised on our beaches, our first drive-through services center for motor vehicle licenses, our peace officer training, our CCTV cameras of over 600, our fire services fleet equipment. This is just a few of many of the holistic approach to good governance that we follow in the George Municipality. And with this, councillor, you can see we truly have political will that encourages us. Can we do better? Of course we can. That is always our goal. We reach for the stars and we will land on the moon. So with this, I want to thank all the officials and councillors in each ward that helped achieve this. I therefore propose the recommendation A to F. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this is the ANC. You may continue. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Somlomo. Mandibulise okokuqala kwi-councillor zonke. Somlomo, siyayiva into yokublishwa kwe-budget. But le budget athetha ngayo umeya intle emaphepheni but when it comes implementation, asiboni into elutshintsho kwiilokishi zethu. For instance, izitrato ezakhiwa ngapha kweBrogo, ukutsho ukuthi kwezi lokishi zabantu abahluphekayo, kwenziwa only paving nendlela ekudizayinwa ngayo, amabala. If you can go to Thembalethu Stadium, even ngoku sekuspendwe imali eninzi, but imali, i-budget versus umsebenzi owenziwayo awuboni. So into eninzi ichithwa kakhulu ezidolophini zabantu abamhlophe, kwiilokishi zethu akho nto yenziwayo. Yona siyayiva, even nale bakuspendwe into close to 80 million for ukwenziwa ke-power station. Sisathi ke kwiilokishi zethu abantu bethu still basasafarisha nezidibene nombane. So singumbutho wesizwe sithi ke siyayiqaphela ukuthi zonke into ezithethayo zintle emaphepheni, but awuhamba ujikeleze ekuhlaleni ayifani nendlela ekuthelwa ngayo kwibudget. Enkosi.
Thank you. Can I have the translation, please?
I'd like to spread or extend a greeting to all the councillors. Speaker, we hear the rosy budget that's been tabled, and if one looks at it, it's a good budget. However, if you look or delve deeper into it, on the implementation side, to the disadvantaged areas over the bridge, one will see that the implementation is not as rosy as it is read on paper. For instance, if you look at the 80 million rand power station that has been approved and empowered, but if you look at our people are still suffering on electricity. These are the issues that I'd like to bring to the fore, that on paper, this sounds good and well. When you drive around and you look at the implementation side of it, if you look at the Thembalethu Stadium, for instance, you look at the figures that have been spent already on the project, and you look at the work that has been done on the ground, it doesn't correspond. So these are the concerns that we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next councillor to speak on this is the PBI. Councillor Peterson, you have 1 minute.
Mr. Mayor, the draft audit report refers. In your executive summary, you make mention of the fact that George is classified as the biggest intermediary city after Cape Town. This is not a remarkable achievement when we notice the unequal services being rendered in George. In Ward 8, where by-election is being contested, this is evident when we see the dire circumstances that our people live in. Surely, the ruling party cannot be too happy when they canvass in the area and are faced with the questions of the constituents. We also registered complaints to the Ward Council of Ward 17 and the Portfolio Councillors for Environmental Affairs regarding an overgrown earth, yet nothing is done about it after even bringing it to the attention of the administration. We hope that the case of unequal services will be addressed in order not to leave your legacy of being a mayor for select few in George standing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item would be the PA, but unfortunately we don't have anybody, so we're going to go over to Councillor Adams. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. The proof is indeed in the pudding, and the pudding smaaks so lekker, Speaker. Speaker, as municipality, we can obviously not go into private properties and assist with private properties with overgrown earths and stuff like that. But Speaker, let me please tell you that I second the recommendation as made by my colleague. The proof is in the pudding. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. We're going to move on to the tabling of the Section 72 Mid-Year Budget Performance Assessment and the S52 Quarterly Report. And I'm going to hand over to the Executive Mayor. Mayor, you may continue.
Thank you, Speaker. I am today tabling the Section 72 Mid-Year Budget and Performance Assessment Report for the 6 months ended 31 December 2023 in terms of the MFMA and the municipal budget and reporting regulations. This report, therefore, also serves as guidance as we progress towards the appropriate financial evaluation and preparation of an adjustment budget to be tabled before Council in February 24. Speaker and councillors, I have already alluded to the difficult financial and economic circumstances that we are experiencing in South Africa. It is to be expected that municipalities such as ourselves will also be impacted by reductions in expenditure that have already been implemented at both national and provincial government. In addition, we are experiencing load shedding as Eskom is unable to supply electricity sustainably to an already reduced economy. In addition, we see around us that the capacity of the state is collapsing in many respects. These factors have placed an increased burden of expectation on ourselves within local government. Our total revenue for the 23-24 year has been budgeted at 3,579 million rand, with actual revenue to date already matching the planned revenue at 1,527 million rand. Most importantly, electricity revenue is slightly ahead at 417 million rand, with satisfactory levels of revenue at each of our 5 main sources of revenue. Actual expenditure is at 1,290 million, which is roughly 3% below planned expenditure. If we turn to capital expenditure, our initial budget was approved at 1,023 million rand, whereafter an additional 401 million rand was added by way of adjustment budgets, resulting in a total of 1,424 million rand. This budget is funded by 744 million rand in grants, 280 million from the Capital Replacement Reserve, and 397 million rand from loans. To date, we've seen actual expenditure of 355 million rand, with orders placed for further 133 million rand. Given the uncertainty of grant funding, it is likely that we will need to prioritize spending on especially grant-funded capital projects to complete them by year end. No doubt, with the size of this capital budget, this will be a fairly onerous task, and we certainly need to do everything within our powers and capability to fulfill those budget decisions that we've made. The Finance Directorate is already in discussions with the Infrastructure Directorates to establish spending patterns and the acceleration of spending over the 5 months to June 2024. In recent months, the collection of debtors has intensified to improve the debtors collection rate, which improved to 95.5% in the October to December quarter, and is at 93.4% for the half year, with the target of being at 95%. So certainly the second quarter's work in collection of debtors was a lot better than we had in the first quarter. Our cash holdings remain stable. As part of the report before us, we also have the mid-year performance assessment report, in where the task there's a task for the accounting officer to review the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and what is apparent already is that approximately a third of those KPIs have been met or better, and about half of those KPIs will only be met towards the end of the financial year. So it remains very much a work in progress. And during the adjustment budget stage, there will be a look at revising the top layer is the BIP, in other words, the Service Delivery Budget Implementation Plan. And thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. The next to speak on the item is the DA. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, as my DA colleague, Councillor Wessels, always says when we get to these things, once the Mayor has tabled an item, there's very little left for the Speaker who has to carry it into say. So I'm not going to labour too much on this matter. Firstly, allow me just to thank our officials for putting together the Section 72 mid-year budget performance assessment and laying it out before us. Once more, it's a very hefty document that takes quite a lot of time to put together and prepare. So thank you to all the officials involved with that. Speaker, we are all incredibly aware of the restraints, financial constraints and restraints that are facing both national fiscus as well as the man on the street. And that makes the tabling that the Mayor has done even more significant because we see that in George things are actually going pretty well. We heard that our collection rate varies between 3 and 95%, depending on which quarter you do look at. So that is quite heartening to know that our residents out there are well doing what needs to be done to settle their accounts with the municipality. We also see from the report that our cash flow is pretty stable. Also, it's amazing for a municipality to be in a condition where your cash flow is stable and that you can meet your commitments as far as finances are concerned. The Mayor briefly touched on the KPIs that are contained in the report, stating that a third of these have already been met, and that is within basically half of the allocated time in the year that is available. So once more, well done to our officials who have been able to meet the requirements. As I stated previously, we are on track when it comes to expenditure, as well as with our revenue. And we need to focus, as was alluded to by the Mayor, on spending our grant funding, because after all, that is money that we receive that can be used to improve the lives of all the residents within our municipal area. Speaker, all that remains for me is to recommend to Council that we take note of this report and that we approve the recommendations A through to C. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Hani. You have 2 minutes.
Kwakhona Speaker, siyayiva ikota le report ka Mayor, but okusikhwancisayo singumbutho wesizwe ulocal umasipala waseGeorge ungomnye umasipala abatyebileyo emveni kweSaldanha, but imali ebhajethelwayo akayichithi yonke. Umasipala wethu kunabantu abadala abapeya inkamnkam abavala umbane, while kunemali close to 1 billion rand ehlele kwingxowa zikamasipala waseGeorge angafuni kuyichitha. Every budget ayenzayo kuba nemali eku-roll over eshekayo engaspendwayo. Sifuna ukuqonda ukuthi why le mali ingaspenda kodwa kunesidingo ekufuneka uba ezinto ziyenziwa. So sithi ke ngozinto ezininzi asiziqonda ngakuzo ngendlela abaqhuba ngayo ube ngumasipala we-DA. Enkosi.
Thank you, Speaker. Again, we as the ANC, we are not pleased with this report that the Mayor has tabled in front of us. It actually surprises us as the National Party because the George municipality is actually the second biggest municipality after Saldanha. But it seems like every year there's a rollover of finances. Every year there's a rollover. The budget is not being fully spent. There are elderly people that needs to be helped. There's a lot of things that needs to be helped. This money should be spent on these things, but it seems like every year there is a rollover, of which it does not please us as the National Party, because if there's so much money that needs to be spent over, but there are things that needs to be done in this George municipality. at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on the item is the PBI. Councillor Peterson, you have 1 minute.
Mr. Mayor, your mid-year budget report refers. Firstly, your figures. It's notably that not even 50% of your budget is spent, yet prices of proof in the pudding is raised. Maybe you should bake another pudding. Load shedding is used as an election gimmick by the Democratic Alliance. Maybe you should start with another narrative, and that will help you to increase sales in electricity. Your sales in electricity is down due to an increased costs, further forced upon the poorest of the poor. Why was the indigent consumers not informed that they would have to pay to increase their amps from 20 to 30 amps? Now they have to buy 350 rands worth of electricity before they get units to spend. Collection of debtors, is the same approach being applied to the businesses versus the poor consumers, or are you waiting for them to default in order to also write off their debt? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the Good Party. Councillor Foster, you have 1 minute.
Hi Speaker, as Good Party neem die party kennis van die Section 72 Midyear report. Ons merk egter op in die memorandum van die Direktoraat Community Service maak die direkteur melding van hulle bekommernis oor die agteruitgang van sportfasiliteit en die instandhouding daarvan. In die verslag word dit verder melding gemaak van 'n tekort van R700,000 wat verlore is vir instandhouding en onderhoud. Vir ons as Good Party is dit 'n bron van kommer as daar nie die politieke wil is om ons sportfasiliteit in stand te hou of te onderhou. Ons is in 'n sportseisoen en as Good Party vertrou ons dat daar dringend geld bewillig sal word om hierdie uitdagings aan te spreek. Daar moet ook 'n audit gedoen word ten opsigte van ons sportfasiliteite en geboue.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much, Councillor. Your time is up. You only had 1 minute. Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Sisi uchaza ukuba bayayamkela bona le report, bayayiva le ndithethekayo kodwa amahlandla inyuke okanye izinto abajamelene nazo ezingxaki kakhulu ngakumbi kwicala le sport izinto okanye amabala asetyenziswayo for isport nezinye iindidi zesport azigcinwanga kumgangatho omhle. Akukho nto ingako yenziwayo ngale mali ibichazwa apha kule report ngokungamne nesport. Nangoku sezawuthuliswa ndiyamva uchaza namabala njengamabala aseRosemoor, amabala angekho mgangathweni. Uthi ucela uba kule nto ichazwa apha le report kwenziwe into ngezi zinto zingqamene nesport. Inkosi.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Nkumile. You have 1 minute, please.
Enkosi Somlomo, thina siyi-EFF i-report le siyayiqwalasela kwaye siyayiqaphela ukuthi ke ayithethi nabantu bakuthi ke abahlelelekileyo okanye abangathathi ntweni. Loo nto leyo yenza okokuba sibe nothandabuza ke kwindlela ke agavunisha ngayo umasipala we-coalition, ngoba ke ubukhulu becala i-report le yezezimali bekufanele ithetha kakhulu kwicala ke labantu abahlelelekileyo nabangathathi ntweni, ingakumbi ke kwi-area ezingekho developed. Basiyazi ke ii-areas noko ezisemi-developed zixhamle kakhulu kwiminyaka edlulileyo nakwixesha ke egqithileyo. Ngoku sikhuthaza ke umasipala ke we-coalition we-DA ukuthi makajonge ingakumbi area ke zabantu ke abamnyama aziphuhlise ngakumbi nequality yemisebenzi yeziprojekthi zithi zenziwe kwezi area athathe inxaxheba yokwenza i-oversight egqibeleleyo ingakumbi ke kwiquality yemisebenzi ithi inikwe aba bantu ke bezithenda. Enkosi.
Thank you, Speaker. The EFF notes this report. It notes that this report does not actually talk or refers to our people, our poor communities. Therefore, it makes the EFF to doubt the governance of this coalition-led municipality because the report does not actually support the indigent or the people who are poor, and does not focus on non-developed areas, but it seems like it focuses on areas that are already developed, that were previously developed, but now it does not concern or focus on these areas that are supposed to be developed. We therefore encourage the municipality to actually please look at the Black people areas and the development thereof, because these areas, they need to be developed, and please let there be an oversight of the quality of jobs that our people are being given. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Fichland. You have 1 minute.
Speaker, thank you. I second the proposal made by my colleague Councillor Barnard.
Thank you very much. This is then adopted. We'll move on to item 11.3, the George Municipality application for the approval of the Water Services Development Plan and Water Services Audit Report for 2022-2023. The first speaker on this item is Councillor Johnson. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this item brings forth a crucial overview of George Municipality water management, aligning with the Water Service Act of 1997 and the associated regulation. The WSDP Performance and Wastewater Service Audit act as a vital tool, evaluating our compliance with set standards, and it enables us to gauge our performances against established targets. Our vulnerability index for 2023 highlights a moderate vulnerability, with a financial asset management being an area of concern. Despite this, our water and sanitation services have been financially sustainable, generating surpluses for the past 12 years. However, attention is needed to National Treasury to increase our budget allocation for refurbishment and maintenance of existing infrastructure, aiming for 2% of the total asset value annually. In the previous financial year, the George Municipality accomplished noteworthy capital project spending of 257 million on the water infrastructure and 109 million on the sewer projects. Implementing the WDM strategy has significantly reduced overall water requirement. It's showcasing our commitment to sustainable water practices. The ongoing efforts to lower non-revenue water and water losses are commendable, with non-revenue water at 30.15% and water losses at 18.56% for 2022-23 financial year. Projects like the Garden Road Dam spillway raise and the planned rehabilitation of the Caimans raw water pump station demonstrate our dedication in augmenting water resources for the future. The completion of the spillway project increases the safe health of the George and Wilderness system by approximately 25%. Furthermore, we are actively engaging in planning for the rehabilitation of the Caimans raw water pump station and the refurbishment of the Outeniqua reclamation plant or the ultrafiltration plant, further ensuring the reliability of our water supply. Our commitment to water quality is evident through comprehensive operational and compliance water quality and final effluent monitoring programs. George Municipality consistently performs excellent in water quality compliance according to the SANS 241-215 classification, ensuring the health and safety of our water supply. In conclusion, this report highlights our accomplishments, acknowledge our areas of improvement, and reinforce our commitment to responsible water management. Together, let us all continue striving for excellence in serving our community. I therefore propose the approval of the Water Service Development Plan and Water Service Audit Report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Mankele. You have 2 minutes, please.
Anibulise Speaker. Singumbutho omkhulu ka-ANC. Siyayixhasa kakhulu indlela yoku-approve kwamanzi ngendlela ye-development eqhubekayo. Amanzi ke into exabise kakhulu. Siyabulela ukuva indlela ayityakatya ngayo uceba uphuhliso lamanzi indlela eluyihamba ngayo. Simamele but siyakwacela nendlela ukuthi njengoko amanzi siwazi axabisekile masingafumani izikhalo kwicala lendawo zithi zishotelwe ngamanzi. Icala le-department yamanzi yiyona department isisokolisa kakhulu thina njengenkokheli ekubeni umasipala ewagadile amanzi ukuhla kwawo nokunyuka kwawo nokusetyenziswa kwawo kuba setyenziswa kanani. So sibe ne-complaints ezifakayo kwicala amanzi sifumana siba zithi zihoyanga. Sizama ukuthi ke siyabulela ingaske le department yamanzi ixabise ukusebenzisa amanzi macala onke. Enkosi Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to the House. Speaker, we support the water improvement as tabled in this report. As water is a very important resource in our communities, we as councillors are encountering many complaints regarding water from the end users in our communities. We would like to then extend a hand of acknowledgement as the water improvement is tabled clearly by the councillor. However, we need that this resource be also well catered for in the poorest of the poor communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Free. If you have 1 minute.
Dankie, Speaker. Speaker, ons as die PBI is ten gunste van alle projekte wat die lewens van ons agtergeblewene gemeenskappe sal verbeter. Daar is egter 'n leemte volgens die PBI van nêrens word melding gemaak van hoe die gemeenskap by die werksgeleentheid gaan baat vind nie, wat deur die projek geskep gaan word nie. Die PBI is dit eens dat dit 'n goed opgestelde plan is en hoop dat die regerende party sal by hierdie voorlegging en nie afwyk van hierdie plan nie. Ons as die PBI vra dat as die projek werksgeleentheid gaan skep, die nie as verkiesing lokas deur regerende party misbruik sal word nie. Die stigterheid van die projek byvoorbeeld aanstel van plaaslike arbeiders. Dankie, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker.
I-PBI ke ithi iphatha kakhulu i-project enophuhliso lokuphucula impilo zabantu bakuthi ngoba kaloku yona imele ukuphucula kwabantu namalungelo abantu. Uthi ke eyona nkxalabo ke abanayo inkulu yokubana ingathi kanti le project izokuthi umbutho olawulayo uyisebenzise njengendlela abazothi bakhankase ngayo ukuwina abantu kwiqala labo. Uthi ke ukubana izawuthi idale amathuba omsebenzi nokuphucula impilo zabantu, mayaziswe loo nto leyo ibekwe esidlangalalweni ukwenzela uba abantu bethu bazofumana futhi ke bazoxhamla ke kwiiprojekthi ezinjena. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Stander. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. I just want to second the proposal by my colleague, Councillor Brown Johnson. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is the item 11.14, which is the 2022-23 annual report of the Audit Committee to Council. And the first to speak on this is Councillor Wessels, who will be taken by Councillor Barnard. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, from the report before us, we will note that the George municipality has a well-functioning audit committee. And this well-functioning audit committee, according to regulations and legal requirements, needs to submit an audit report on an annual basis, which is contained in our municipal annual report. So if we take note at the contents of this report before us, we will see that the audit committee had 9 meetings for the period in question. And these 9 meetings were over and above other engagements that they had. For example, 2 engagements that were held with the Auditor General during this period. Now, people may ask what the use of an audit committee is. It's actually quite straightforward. I'm going to just touch on some of the requirements from them. They have to review the financial statements and provide council with an authoritative and a credible view of the position of the municipality. They also need to respond to any council on any issues that have been raised by the Auditor General in any report. They had performed functions as prescribed by law. The audit committee charter was reviewed, and they also reviewed and approved the 3-year rolling over of internal audit and the annual internal audit plans. They also looked at the internal audit reports that were issued, and they reviewed reporting by the internal audit section of the municipality, which dealt with performance management and performance information. Further to that, they issued reports on recommendations to council on performance of management and performance information. Now, Speaker, I need to make it very clear that there is a very good working relationship between the audit committee and the municipality at this stage. There were absolutely no major concerns that were raised. There is a great working relationship between the municipality and the audit committee, as I said previously. And we would like to thank these people for making themselves available to act as watchdogs as part of the audit committee. The report before you, Speaker, with its recommendation is on page 782, and I therefore recommend that we accept point A and point B regarding the 2022-23 financial year and the Audit Committee's annual report to Council. Thanks, I so propose, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Peterson. You have 1 minute, please.
Mr. Speaker, the annual report refers. The report is very flimsy and lacks substance. All the issues pertaining to this municipality is not addressed. The situation with regard to the financial misconduct is dire, and no mention is made with regards to remedial steps being taken. This report seems therefore only to comply with legislation while ignoring the critical issues. What steps are being implemented to prevent this from happening in the future? What steps was allowed or followed to recover losses? Is everyone involved in these incidences being prosecuted or not? Let's come with pudding where there is proof in, or not half-baked puddings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Lowe. You have 1 minute, please.
Dankie, Speaker. Speaker, die kantoor van die ouditeur-generaal het in verskeie kommentare melding gemaak van munisipaliteite wat oortrewig gebruik maak van konsultante. As good party stem ons saam met die ouditeur-generaal se bevinding in die verband en stem ons tot kommer. Daar moet afgeskaal word met die gebruik van konsultante en dat beter beheer toegepas word en gemonitor word. Ons doen 'n beroep op die burgemeester en munisipale bestuur om beter toesig en beter te bestuur. 'n Bedrag van R61 miljoen is begroot vir konsultante. Dit is 'n astronomiese bedrag. Dit is dus belangrik dat ons mikrostruktuur so aangepas word om die behoeftes aan te pas soos poste wat benodig is en afskaal in die gebruik van konsultante. Ons kan nie 'n konsultant aanstel om regsmening te gee van 4 bladsye en ons het 'n regsafdeling wat regsaake kan hanteer nie. Dankie Speaker.
Can I have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. We are of the opinion that in this report there are too much use of consultants, as the Auditor General nationally also tabled that he or she is against the use of consultants. We are vehemently against the use of these consultants. We are calling on the municipality and the relevant departments to rather appoint permanent staff. 61 million rands is too much of an exorbitant amount to use on consultants. We are of the opinion that we rather advertise posts and appoint permanent staff for them to perform these duties. And these consultants on legal issues, we do have legal department. Why not make use of our own legal department instead of appointing consultants to do legal work? Thank you.
Thank you. The next person to speak on this item, I believe Councillor Philander said that there wasn't the correct translation. Could you please point out what the difference was, just shortly, please, without going into too much elaboration? Okay, I'm not getting any answer there. Can I then please continue to the next person? And that is Councillor Cruiser. You have 1 minute, please.
Good afternoon, Speaker. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, my fellow councillor colleague mentioned impact stuff, and that's unfortunately not, or the Audit Committee annual report, as well as the consulting, it's nothing to do with the Audit Committee report. So I will second my fellow colleague, Councillor Barnard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. We then move on to item 11.5, which is the 23-24 quarterly report of the Audit Committee for the second quarter, which ended on the 31st of December 2023. And the first to speak on that is Councillor Barnard. Once again, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, we have just dealt with the annual report from the Audit Committee. And you will note that the annual report is made up of the various quarterly reports. So before us now, we have the second quarterly report for the period ending the end of December 2023. In that period, I just need to note that we had 2 Audit Committee meetings that were well attended. Let me just get my page numbering correctly here quickly. If we go to page 796, we will note who was present at the various meetings. There were activities that were performed by the Audit Committee as is in line with the required legislation and regulations. And this included, amongst other, performance management issues, internal audit issues, control environment issues, risk management, external audit, annual financial statements, as well as compliance with laws, regulations, and ethics. They also looked at information technology and government issues and combined assurance. Speaker, this is, as I said, the second report, and I'm not going to waste Council's time further. I'm sure we can all read and we can check what the report actually states. So I just recommend that we accept this second quarterly report as put to us by the Audit Committee. The recommendation is on page 793. I so propose. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Peterson. You have 1 minute, please.
Mr. Speaker, we today, the DA and the coalition partners is only busy with sugarcoating regarding most of the reports that serve here before Council. There is a lack of internal controls in most of the departments, which is not addressed. That's why we have instances of financial misconduct, and the steps that is being taken or should be taken is not addressed here. I find it hard that George municipality can have a clean audit every year, but I know for a fact that it depends on your terms of reference that is given to the auditors. Therefore, we see what is going on here, and we say good luck until the first audit reports comes out that will prove that these clean audits were false. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Philander. You have 1 minute, please.
Sorry, Speaker, pass.
Thank you very much. The next would be the PA, which is nobody present. I'm going to hand over to Councillor Fry for the last person to speak on this item. Sorry, that's a change. The Mayor will be taking that position.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, in seconding this report, I think I just want to make a comment on the aspersions that were made by Councillor Peterson, which I think are, will probably be an infringement of the work that is done by the Auditor General in casting the type of aspersions that he's done. And I think possibly, Speaker, you may need to have a look at what he's had to say, and that, that there may well be certain sanctions that we might need to investigate. I second the item. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries. Councillors, item 11.6. Councillors, item 11.6 has been withdrawn. I've withdrawn that item, so we're going to move on to item 12, which is motions or proposals deferred from previous meetings. We've received none. Item 13 is new motions. We've received none. Matters at the discretion of the Speaker. I have none at this stage. And then item 15. Just 1 second, please.
Speaker, I would just like to make an announcement on adjustments to committees. If we could do that under your item there, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the discretion of the Speaker, item 14, Executive Mayor, you may now make your announcement regarding the committees. Thank you.
Yes, Speaker, this relates to committees of council. And as we do from time to time, we amend the membership of committees as a result of changes in council personnel and new councillors that come on board. So with regard to Section 80 committees, the Electrotechnical Service Committee, there we have former Councillor Petrus is being replaced by Councillor Ibrahim America. At the Planning and Development Committee, that includes then planning, building control, property, IDP performance management, economic development, agriculture and tourism. There, Councillor Jansen is being replaced by Councillor Edmund Busak. And then the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Raven Fichland, will be standing down as the committee exceeded the maximum of 10 members. So we're just making that correction. And at Corporate Services Committee, which incorporates human resources, Alderman Petrus is replaced by Councillor Jacqueline van Brandes. And Councillor Carolus is replaced by Councillor Daryl Gouries. On the Section 79 committees in respect of the Municipal Public Accounts Committee, Councillor Jansen is replaced by Councillor Gouries. Those are the changes that I'm reading in for the record, Speaker, and I will accordingly sign this matter and be handed to our committee staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That then concludes the matters at the discretion of the Speaker, and so noted. Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on to item 15, urgent matters by the Municipal Manager. Is there anything from your side?
Speaker, no, there isn't. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillors. That ends the open session of our council meeting. We've had a long break at 12 o'clock. I'm going to therefore ask that we merely, the agenda for the confidential is very short. I'm going to ask that the link to the YouTube channel be cut, and I'm going to give a few seconds for that, and we're going to continue directly with the confidential portion of this council meeting. Once corporate services can confirm that the link has been cut, we will continue. Thank you. Could you just confirm once the link is down, please? And then I want to continue immediately. Corporate services, can you confirm that the link has been broken?
Speaker, sorry, IT normally removes the link. So they must just confirm to us, then we can confirm. Thank you.
Thank you.